Studies using MRI scans show that regular gratitude practice strengthens the medial prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain tied to decision-making, empathy, and long-term happiness. The source of that study came from UC Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center. The bottom line is, gratitude trains your mind to see possibilities over threats. Your mind is already really good at seeing threats. You have a critical mind by nature that's always looking for the next thing that's out to get you. Gratitude is more of an energy that tends to be taken for granted. It trains your mind to see possibilities over threats. Hey everybody, Jeff here. Before we get started, if you're getting value from the podcast, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For those of you listening on podcast apps, don't forget to rate and review. Your support really helps the show reach more people, and for that, I am truly grateful. Now let's dive in.
Welcome to the Point with Jeff Spikes.
Hello and welcome to the Point, soon to be Quantum Strengths podcast. What a pleasure it is to be here. Grab your coffee or water, get hydrated, get ready. Here we go. Today, the topic of conversation is gratitude versus darkness. Gratitude versus evil. Gratitude versus you put in your word for what that looks like to you, of how you think of that. But some bold claims have been made, and that gratitude is this amazing power that always defeats these lesser energies, like darkness, evil, bad, however you want to frame that for your way of thinking. It is oh so amazingly true. So today, you're going to have the opportunity to hear some basic facts, some simple things, advancements that have been made regarding gratitude and the power that we're just beginning to scratch the surface of what that looks like. It doesn't just feel good to be grateful. It doesn't just begin to help us think differently, to have a practice for 30 days. It is the most effective tool we have to defeat fear, resentment, division, and even evil. So gratitude, it is one of the most effective tools. Let me repeat that. Gratitude is one of the most effective tools to defeat fear, to defeat resentment, division, and even evil. Any darkness, ugly force in your life, something that's not going in your way, gratitude is the tool that you most readily have at your disposal, that it's just right there for you. And that's the deal. Use it. Learn about it. Take it more seriously than you have. So where are we going with this, right? It's an exciting time to think that you really have something that's a resource that you can own, that is that powerful. So what are the claims that back it up? Well, we're going to go with 5 today. You're going to be able to consider these 5 things and think about what you believe regarding these facts. The first one is that it rewires your brain for resilience. Gratitude rewires your brain and makes you more resilient. Okay? MRI studies, it makes your brain more resilient. You can see specific improvements in your brain with the use of gratitude. Studies using MRI scans show that regular gratitude practice strengthens the medial prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain tied to decision-making, empathy, and long-term happiness. The source of that study came from UC Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center. The bottom line is, gratitude trains your mind to see possibilities over threats. Your mind is already really good at seeing threats. You have a critical mind by nature that's always looking for the next thing that's out to get you. Gratitude is more of an energy that tends to be taken for granted. It trains your mind to see possibilities over threats. So you look at the left foot yes method of improving a response or a result when you're going into some type of a situation that you think might not be, that has the room to be negative. This has been tried, true, and tested with a number of veterans going to the Veterans Administration for medical or psychological care. Every time your left foot hits the ground, if you say the word yes, you're opening that part of your mind to possibilities. And yes is affirming something of gratitude. Yes, I can walk. Yes, it naturally opens up that realm. So, a fun little fact. Try it. Take that one for proving and see what you've got. Then, so the next number 2 is that gratitude reduces depression and anxiety. I've been listening to and attending different spiritual and self-improvement types of groups and conventions and other things that I've been able to attend, and I've been participating, supporting, and speaking at different events. And it's common to hear somebody talk about their brokenness and to talk about how they've tried everything to get better or to not have a given problem. But when you look holistically, if you really sit there and look at it, one of the number one things that stands out is how can we have tried everything when we're not entirely fully optimal? So reducing depression and anxiety takes physiology, our body composition, our ability to move, the ability for our blood to flow to all of our extremities and back, so our circulation matters, all of these things. And we have a physiology involved with feeling resourceful and positive. And we also have an input opportunity happening of how we're filtering, how our mind is filtering all the information and all of our senses that are coming in. So our environment becomes really, really important to staying in a resourceful state, which is what I consider to be the opposite of depression and anxiety. I can't tell you how many times I look up on a stage or in front of a group of people where somebody is in a way professing that they've done everything they can and their only alternative is to see something in a certain light. Yet, they're speaking about problems, not solutions. They're not in the gratitude. They're clearly not speaking about all the things they're grateful for, and their physiology's not quite dialed in. They're just thinking about how they're thinking through the problem. Now, that's not 100%. It's just something to think about and notice. Notice what's coming into your mind with the idea of what is depression and anxiety, and notice what your beliefs are, because there's a lot of beliefs out there that are keeping people stuck. So there's a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that writing in a gratitude journal just 3 times a week significantly reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety within weeks. Now, it's been proven that writing down 3 things you're grateful for once a day for 30 days makes a chemical change in the mind. It does improve what's happening in the mind with cortisol, and it will help you lower stress and increase your feel-good emotions. The darkness that comes with depression and anxiety shrinks where gratitude is practiced. Our mental health improves, not by fighting the problem, but by turning on gratitude. Gratitude reduces depression and anxiety. Now, that could be a session, a podcast, an open community conversation for any of us that might think otherwise. Because if you've suffered from depression, if you have had the challenge of feeling depressed in your life, not even suffered from it, just had the emotion of depression and felt that coming on, you know that can feel hopeless, helpless, and miserable. Should you turn on the perspective of gratitude and begin to notice the things you're grateful for, it absolutely makes a difference. Now, you add other pieces to that with using that gratitude. So we call this expressions of self-love. Demonstrations and expressions of self-love. Sometimes that's by loving someone else and being grateful for them, when they're aggravating you and you know they're showing you a mirror of yourself, you can increase the love you feel for yourself by choosing to love them and be grateful for the mirror they're showing you that helps you then look at what it maybe was about you that you don't like or didn't like, and have the compassion by helping someone else overcome an obstacle that you previously faced. It is a way, and having gratitude for having overcome something, an expression of gratitude for overcoming it is then helping someone else, sharing your experience with someone else so they can overcome it, are all expressions of gratitude that help you move forward. So that comes back to this idea of strengths, right? Strengths-based leadership, strengths-based thinking, strengths-focused, outperforms fixing weakness models all day long. Okay, so thinking about that with gratitude is a strengths-based concept. What is it that I'm grateful for that's working? Even something that's showing up in your life that feels like it's against you or it's weighing you down. The lesson that comes from it can be and being grateful for any lesson that comes from it can completely flip that upside down, and you can see the strength of the message, the feedback that you're receiving from around you, in your environment, from people, places, and things. All of it is feedback. And if it doesn't feel good, that means there's a lesson to be had. So take the lesson, feel gratitude for the lesson, and you're in a strengths-based world, and you're absolutely outperforming a previous way of thinking or any way of thinking that is about latching onto the problem and trying to fix it or solve it. Take a breath. Feel grateful for the feedback. Decide what you want instead and move into it. So that was number 3. I don't think I said that up front, but number 4 is about fixating on weaknesses invites bias. It may not uncategorically, right? It may just often tend to invite bias, but it certainly brings in the bias. Social science shows that labeling people by their weaknesses increases implicit bias and stereotyping, especially in education, hiring, and leadership. The source of study on that was Harvard Implicit Association Test and Studies on Deficit-Based Language. When we define people by what's broken, we create room for prejudice. Not just prejudice about people, but prejudice about what things mean. Think about it. If every energy has something good in it, they're professing something that has nothing to do with who they are, and they are in a way being offensive, crude, or anything else. You might make it about the tenets of that religion or that practice that are negative and not just that person's perspective of it. Right? So we develop these beliefs and these systems that are prejudiced against words, about what things mean, about the stories behind them. And rather than considering what they mean to us, it's a continual ongoing thing. Gratitude and strengths don't just uplift, they protect the dignity of others. When we define people by what's broken, we create room for prejudice, and we can overcome that with gratitude and strengths. Focusing on gratitude will uplift and protect the dignity. Looking at what you can agree with or what works, and looking at what is strong about someone, even when it's showing up in a weakness or in a way that doesn't work for you. That was 4. Number 5 is that gratitude fosters connection and unity. Gratitude is a way of bringing things together. Expressing gratitude, particularly when you're expressing gratitude towards others, activates positive social behavior. People are more likely to cooperate with you. People are more likely to listen to what you have to say. Be curious about your opinions and your thoughts. So forgiveness is even a more open energy when you're expressing and in a place of gratitude. If you walk into a new community that doesn't feel anything like any community you've ever been accustomed to, and you walk in with a gratitude for being there, a gratitude for being welcomed, or can you walk in and say, well, they didn't welcome me. That first person right up front looked at me funny, and I could just tell they didn't really want me there. That's one person. If you focus on that, you will have a different time than if you focus on gratitude that that person's even willing to greet you and that they were willing to show you some discomfort, or maybe that you could be grateful that they weren't able to hide from you that they were having discomfort. Because now that's information that you can just be with to know how to walk and be in more gratitude. So gratitude just grows and expands on itself. Why would you ever think it's anything other than this amazing, powerful force, this amazing, powerful tool, and the best, if you want to call it a weapon or resource that you have at combating anything in the world, anything around you, is gratitude. What is your primary way of moving forward with your strengths? Think about that. Take a note to write that down next time you're sitting down and able to journal on something. Make this something you use contemplative thought, prayer, or meditation around. And contemplate the thought. Allow space for the thought of gratitude and how that works. Allow space for the thought of gratitude in these 5 frameworks, right? The 5 facts that back it up. It rewires the brain for resilience. It reduces depression and anxiety. It builds strength-based attitudes and environments. It removes bias, and it fosters connection. So if you think about those 5 things, and there are many, many, many others, you can contemplate on what are the energies prominent in your life. What are the specific things that gratitude overcomes in your life when that's used, when that is a tool that you access and resource and move forward with. So that is the point for today. That is the point within the realm of quantum strengths. When you consider the greatness of you, and then put that up with all of the resources available to you in the universe, in your conscious and unconscious self, ease, flow, effortlessness, all kinds of things, freedoms become true for you. And gratitude is one of the number 1 activating energies, thoughts, expressions, and resources that you have at your fingertips. That is the point. Have a beautiful week, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing episode of The Point with me, Jeff Spikes. Please visit jeffspikes.com for everything you would need to know to engage with me offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Point.